the police to see for himself if the extent of the destruction and challenges of making REDD work.
There are many in the rich world who like to think the Amazon belongs to them. 500,000 square miles of it already lost, and they want to save what's left in order to save the planet. Now there's a plan to put our money where our mouth is, by paying Amazonians to stop chopping down their trees. We travelled 2,000 miles across the Amazon basin, which contains more than half the world's remaining rainforest, to ask Brazil's Amazon pioneers what they make of this plan. Could they be enticed to treat this forest as the global resource we all like to think it is? And who among the Amazon's 30 million people stands to gain? The plan is known as REDD, and a couple of weeks from now it could be being hailed as a global triumph in the war against climate change. Its success will hinge on wealthy countries convincing Amazonians that money really can grow on trees and that they'd literally be better off leaving their forests intact. In the past, logging has simply been too profitable.
And now the idea behind REDD is that, left untouched, this will be worth more standing up than it will be in a timber yard.
The REDD fund could be worth £1.5 billion a year to Brazil, yet those pushing it say REDD's still one of the cheapest and easiest ways of reducing greenhouse gas emissions and averting climate change. But will REDD work? We're on a logging road miles from anywhere. Off to our right, the unmistakable roar of a chainsaw. It echoes through the forest. Some illegal loggers have just felled a cedar. Chainsaw gangs like this wreak trails of devastation. They're aware that an ever more eco-conscious outside world now brands them environmental terrorists, but they're not bothered.
We don't want to get paid to do nothing. We want to live here, working at what we do. Why is that rich countries are so interested in preserving the Amazon and they don't preserve their own forest? Tell me that.
They don't like the idea of gringos telling them what not to do in their forest, even if they pay them. This is Brazil, Flavio told me, and I'm a Brazilian, and this is what I do. Brazil's modern Amazonians have a Wild West mindset. Not that long ago, the government was handing out free land and chainsaws. Productivity measured by the number of trees you felled. The more you cleared, the more land you could claim. For Amazonians, the forest isn't just a big nature reserve. They have to work and trade and get around. And for that, they need roads. And this is the most controversial road in Brazil. The BR-319 cuts through the heart of the Amazon. It's controversial because it's being paved, all 500 miles of it.
When you put down tarmac, it makes it even easier for people and big logging trucks to get in and pillage the forest. They build little roads off the big roads like the 319 here. And satellite imagery shows that in the Brazilian Amazon alone, there are now 173,000 kilometers of these illegal clandestine roads. That is enough to encircle the entire planet 4 times over.
80% of deforestation takes place within a 3-mile radius of these side roads. But it's not just loggers who blaze trails of destruction. In an isolated jungle clearing known as New El Dorado, illegal gold miners have devastated the forest for miles around, polluted the groundwater and rivers with mercury, and caused one river to completely dry up. The question for those designing REDD is how on earth does the rich world get its money to illegal miners illegally occupying land in the middle of the jungle? Until it can, there'll be little incentive here to do anything but keep on digging and destroying. Although the miners don't think they're the problem.
An illegal miner destroys less forest than a rancher. In 1 year, a rancher can destroy millions and millions of hectares, but we stay in the same place for years. We destroy a fraction of what they destroy.
Brazil's meat industry is the biggest in the world, and Flavio the miner is right. Cattle farmers are indeed responsible for the vast majority of the deforestation. Early on, ranchers grabbed land up here too, and like the illegal loggers and miners, felled great swathes of rainforest. Most farmers have fake titles to the land, but possession is 9/10 of the law.
The ranchers here are all too often painted as the bad guys. They chopped the forest down, they made a lot of money from the timber, then they raised all this cattle and they're getting money out of that. The interesting thing is, though, that they're going to be one of the chief beneficiaries of REDD.
And so they should be, says Algair Vucic, who bought her 2,500-hectare ranch legally 25 years ago. More than half of it still forested. If it's to stay that way, she can't expand her herd, and for that, she says, she should be compensated.
It's not our fault what is happening to the world. They have to give us a financial incentive to stop cutting down the trees, because people cannot just stop working, because the world thinks that saving the Amazon is going to save the planet. To preserve the forest, you need money. You need to have people around to make sure that conservation does take place. If I wasn't here, all these forests would have been cut down. I left part of my forest untouched.
Even Brazilians who agree that the forest should be saved insist that there has to be a balance between protecting it and feeding a country of close to 200 million people. We're on the move again, from Amazonas state 500 miles southeast to Mato Grosso, and we're still in the Amazon basin. Mato Grosso means thick forest. Spot the irony. Among the endless fields of soya, there aren't that many trees left for REDD to save. What few remain lie mostly within native Indian reservations. We've come to meet a Parasi Indian chief. Cacique Kizara Cairo turned up with her daughter riding pillion. The Parasi pose no threat to the forest, of which they have more than 1 million hectares. They grow only what they need to eat. They tap wild rubber, harvest forest fruits, and hunt and shoot and fish. But the Parasi don't stand to gain from REDD, which would pay only those posing the greatest danger to the forest. The chief says it's a recipe for conflict and corruption. It rewards the white people, she says, by which she means anyone who isn't Indian.
It's an injustice that the people who are destroying the forest will get paid. If that's the case, we will destroy our forest to see if they pay us as well. If the white people have land today, they want more tomorrow, and even more the next day. If they are going to pay those who are destroying, we will destroy too.
The cowboys stand to do rather better out of REDD than the Indians. But there's another even bigger problem. The Amazon is vast, so how do you police it? The long arm of the law is already overstretched. These are the Amazon's airborne enforcers, whose job it is to catch illegal loggers. We're now 700 miles northwest of the Parasi Reserve. Rondônia, a small Brazilian state that's bigger than Britain and for which the Amazon police have only got 2 choppers. Each of the tiny triangles on this map is a GPS fix on suspected sites of illegal logging. The plan is for REDD to be policed using satellite intelligence just like this. We're on an operational mission, and they're coming in fast and low. They circle their target. REDD will need enforcement, and in Brazil, these police are the only enforcers around. They're constantly clamoring for more resources. But unbelievably, they face closure because of pressure from the powerful agribusiness lobby. The raid is a total failure. The suspects have fled into the forest.